Hello, I think I'm being heard. Hello, I think I'm being heard. Can anyone hear me? You can just comment if you can hear me. All right, then I think I'm being heard. All right, let's get started. All right, I think someone said that the volume is low. Okay, I've increased it. So we can start. Today we're doing grade 11, Maths paper 1, and we're focusing on question 1. So remember, for question 1, we deal with simplification. We simplify the expression. We deal with solve for x, simultaneous equation, and also the nature of roots. So today we'll be solving for x. Today we're solving for x. All right. Let me project my screen. Okay, my screen is projected. All right, let's get started. All right. So as I've said that for question 1 we're dealing with simplification, solve for x, simultaneous equation, nature of roots. So that's what we deal with for question 1 in grade 11. So now we have this equation. Here we have 2x times x minus 3 is equals to 0. So this one is 2 marks because the examiner has already factorized this equation for you. So you just equate the values of x. So okay, let's get started. So here you are going to say here you're going to say 2x is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equals to 0. So we have these possible solutions that, so in order for this equation to be true, it's either 2x should be 0 or x minus 3 should be 0, so that it can satisfy the equation on the right. Remember, the right hand side is 0. So then we say here 2x is equals to 0 or x minus 3, this binomial, is equals to 0. Then you say x is equals to 0. What we did here, we said 2x divided by 2 and also 0 divided by 2. Whatever you do on the left hand side, you must also do on the right hand side. So that's why we have x is equals to 0 or then here we have x minus 3 is equals to 0. So we're gonna take, remember this is a linear equation, we're gonna take 3 to the right hand side, so we're gonna transpose 3 to the right hand side. So remember, the 3, it's negative 3. So when you transpose a term to the other side of the equation, the sign changes. So it's gonna be x is equal to positive 3, because the 3, it was negative 3 on the left hand side. Now when you transpose it, when you send it to the right hand side, it becomes positive 3. So we have these two equations, x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 3. So if we check it, if we replace 3 here, it's gonna be 3 minus 3, which is 0. Then any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. Or if we put x 0 here, so it's gonna be 2 times 0, which will be 0. Then 0 multiplied by this binomial will give us 0, because 0 is going to multiply each term that is inside the bracket. So these are two possible values of x. Now let's go to the second question. Okay, here we're given a hint. We have this equation, 3x squared minus 2x is equals to 4. Then it says correct to 2 decimal places. In other words, we don't have factors for this equation, so we have to use the quadratic formula. In order for you to use the quadratic formula, you must make sure that your equation is in the standard form, that is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So your equation should be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So in order for you to use the quadratic formula, you must make sure that your equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Right now, let's write this equation 3x squared minus 2x is equals to 4 in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Is going to be 3x squared minus 2x. Then now we are going to transpose 4 to the left hand side. You are going to take the constant 4 to the left hand side. Remember, 4 is a positive, so when it goes to the left hand side it becomes a negative. It changes the sign every time you transpose a term. That is, you take a term from one side to the other side, it changes the sign. The 4 on the right hand side was a positive, so when it goes to the left hand side it becomes a negative 4. Then on the right hand side you are left with 0, you are left with nothing. So now it's in the standard form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Then let's write the values of a, b, and c. Okay, what is the value of a? The value of a is a coefficient of x squared. So here the value of a in this case is 3. A is equals to 3. A is equals to 3, right? Then what is the value of b? The value of b is a coefficient of x. So b in this case is equals to -2. And what is a constant? A number without an x, or a variable without an x. Remember, is not supposed to always be a number. It can be a letter, it can be a variable, but in maths we don't have letters, we have variables. So it can be a variable, that is, it can be p, it can be k, it can be z, it can be d. So in this case we have 4. So 4 is a number without x. In other words, 4 is a constant. So the value of c is -4. C is equal to -4. So now we can substitute our values of a, b, and c by using the quadratic equation. So the quadratic equation you are always given in your formula sheet, but I prefer that you know it by heart because you'll be using it even in grade 12. You'll be using the quadratic equation, I mean the quadratic formula. So let me write the formula. All right, so here we have x is equal to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now we just need to substitute the values of a, b, and c. All right, so b is -2. B is -2. So here we have minus into -2 plus minus b is -2. All right, -2 put it inside the brackets, squared, minus 4ac, the value of a is 3, and the value of c is -4, all over 2a, in this case a is 3. Alright, now you just need to punch your calculator and get two possible values of x. We're gonna have two possible values of x because of this plus or minus. So we're gonna have two possible values of x. Here it's gonna be 2. A negative multiplied by negative is a positive, so here we'll be left with 2 plus minus -2 squared is gonna be 4. Gonna be 4. Then a -4 multiplied by 3, that is 12. Then 12 multiplied by a -12 multiplied by 4, that should be 48. Then we're gonna have plus 48, plus 48. Alright, so we can just say 48 plus 4, that will be 52. 52 all over 2 times 3, that is 6. Right. So remember, we're going to have two possible values of x. So x is equal to 2 plus root of 52 all over 6, or x is equal to 2 minus root of 52 all over 6. Then just use your calculator and get the right answer. So I will leave that to you. If you don't know how to use a calculator, you can contact us. We'll be glad to help you. Alright, let's get to the next question. I hope you are following. So number 3, this one is an inequality. So we have this equation: 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 is greater or equals to 0. So here is out of 3 marks. So what you need to do here, you have to factorize. You just need to factorize. So we have factors of 2x squared is going to be 2x into x, that will give us 2x squared, is greater or equals to 0. Is greater or equal to 0, right? Then factors of 4. Factors of 4 is 1, 2, and 4. Factors of 4 is 1, 2, and 4, right? So which factors should we choose here? Remember, if the last term is negative, we'll have two different signs. Then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term, right? So if the last term is negative, which means we have to minus the factors of the last term to get the middle term. We have to minus the factors of the last term to get the middle term. So here, remember, 2 is an even number. If we say 2 times 2 is 4, we take these two factors, it won't give us 7 because it is an even number. But if we take 1 and 4 will give us 7. So where should we put 1? Where should we put 4? So remember, these factors must minus each other. When they minus each other, we should get the middle term. So here we have minus 4. Then here we'll have plus 1. So if we check it, 1 times x is going to be x. Then 2x multiplied by negative 4 is going to be negative 8x. Then negative 8x minus x is negative 7x, right? Then we're going to write 2x plus 1. Okay, let me not put in brackets. 2x plus 1 is equal to, is greater or equal to 0, or x minus 4 is greater equals to 0. Okay, I'll explain something here. So here we'll say 2x plus 1 is less or equals to 0. Why? Okay, let me explain. Here we have this equation, 2x plus 1 into x minus 4 is greater than 0, right? So which means this is remember, this is a binomial and also this is a binomial. So which means the value, the smaller value of x will be smaller than the smallest value, and x will be greater than the big value. So here we'll say, that's why we have 2x plus 1 is less than or equals to 0. Then here we have 4x minus, we have x minus 4 is greater or is equals to 0. So we're saying the lesser x is smaller than the lesser number, x is less than the lesser number, or x is greater than the bigger number. So that's why we have here 2x plus 1 is less or is equals to 0, or x minus 4 is greater or equals to 0. Then our final solution would be 2x is less than or is equal to negative 1, or x is greater than or is equal to positive 4. Then let's just simplify it. Remember, here you're going to divide by the coefficient of x so that you get the root of 2. So the coefficient of x here is 2, so we're going to divide the left hand side by 2 and the right hand side by 2. So our answer would be x is less than or is equal to negative 1 over 2. X is less than or is equal to negative 1 over 2. X is less equal to negative 1 over 2, or x is greater or equals to 4, or x is greater than or is equals to 4. So we have these two possible values. X is less than or is equals to -1/2, or x is greater than or is equals to +4. Okay, let me explain again. Here we have this equation: 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 is greater than or is equals to 0. Then remember, this is a quadratic equation. We have to factorize. Then these are the factors. So here we have 2x plus 1 into x minus 4 is greater or is equals to 0. Then when we are here, you are going to say x must be less than the smallest number, or x must be greater or equals to the biggest number. So that's why here we have, remember, this binomial is smaller than, remember, 2x plus 1 is smaller than x minus 4. So here we say 2x plus 1 is less than or is equals to 0, or x minus 4 is greater than or is equal to 0. So when you're having a greater than, you have to say x should be greater than the big number, or x should be smaller than the smallest number. That's how you do it. All right. So number 4 is made up of 4 marks. It's made up of 5 marks. I hope I'm still being heard. All right. Perfect. Here, so what we need to do here, we have to remove the square root sign. In order to remove the square root sign, we have to square. Whatever you do on the left hand side, you must always do on the right hand side. Then five minus x is equal to x plus 1. So in order to remove a square root sign, we have to square. So we're gonna square Alright, let me put the brackets so that it will be clear to you. We're squaring, so we have to square. Whatever you do on the left hand side, you must also do on the right hand side. We're squaring on both sides. We're squaring on both sides. Alright, so then here we'll say root 5 minus x all squared. So we're gonna left with 5 minus x. So the left hand side you'll be left with 5 minus x. Remember, when you are removing a square root, you have to square, is equal to, then here we have x plus 1 into x plus 1, right? So Then on the left hand side, you still have 5 minus x is equal to, then here on the right hand side, we are going to apply FOIL, which means that F stands for first terms. We are going to say x multiplied by x will give us x squared. Will give us x squared. Will give us x squared. Then x multiplied by 1. Now we're doing FOIL. We're done with the first terms. Now we're doing outer terms for all outer terms. So we're saying x multiplied by 1, then that will be x. That will be plus x. Then now we're doing inner terms. Inner terms, 1 multiplied by x is x. Then now we're doing last terms. 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. Any number multiplied by 1 is equal to that number. Then here we have, let's just add the like terms. X times x will be 2x. Then we're gonna take everything on the left to the right hand side. So on the left, we'll be left with 0. We're transposing everything on the left to the right hand side. So 0. So when we take everything on the left hand side, we're left with 0, with nothing. So 0 is equal to x squared. Is equals to x squared, right? Plus 2x, right? Plus 1. Then x on the left hand side was a negative, so now it becomes positive x. Then 5 on the left hand side was positive, so it becomes negative 5, right? So now let's add like terms. 2x plus x will be left with 3x. We'll be left with 3x, right? Then 1 minus 5 will be left with negative 4. Negative 4. Then now, let's write it in a proper way. Instead of saying 0 is equals to a quadratic equation, let's say quadratic equation is equals to 0. Remember, a quadratic equation should always be in this form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. It should always be in this form. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. A quadratic equation in this form. So now let's write it. 0 is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 4 in the form of a squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So then here it will be so it's gonna be x squared plus 3x plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Then let's start from the next page so that it can be clear for you. Alright, now let's factorize. So what are the factors of 4? Okay, let's start by factorizing factors of x squared. So factors of x squared is going to be x multiplied by x will give us x squared is equals to 0. Then factors of 4, what are the factors of 4? Factors of 4, we have 1, 2, and 4. Factors of 4, we have 1, 2, and 4. So which factors should we take here? Should we take 2 by 2 or 1 by 4? Remember, when the last term is negative, we will have two different signs. Then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. So it implies that when the last term is negative, the factors of the last term, they should minus each other to get the middle term. So remember, when you say 2 minus 2 is 0, so 2 by 2 is out, we won't use it, so we'll use 1 by 4. So here we have, so which one is bigger? 4 is bigger, so 4 will take a positive, so we have plus 4, because the bigger number should take the sign of the middle term. Here we have minus 1. So we have 4x plus 1, we have x plus 4 into x minus 1 is equals to 0. Therefore, x plus 4 is equals to 0, or x minus 1 is equals to 0, right? Then now we're going to transpose. We're going to leave x on the left hand side and take the positive 4 to the right hand side. So every time we transpose, every time we take a term from one side to the other side of the equation, the sign changes. If that term was a positive, it becomes a negative. If that term was a negative, it becomes a positive when we transpose it, when you take it to the other side of the equal sign. Alright, so here, can you guess the value of x? So x will be a negative 4. X is equals to negative 4, or x is equals to positive 1, or x is equals to 1. Right? So these are the two possible values of x. These are two possible values of x. So if we check it, we say x is negative 4. So let's check. If x is negative 4 here, so we have a negative 4, negative 4, right? Then this is going to be positive 9. So square root of 9 is equals to, so x can never be negative 4. Why? Because everything under a square root is either can be 0 or greater than 0. So x should not be a negative 4. So the possible solution here, therefore the possible solution here, therefore x is equal to 1. Therefore x is equals to 1. So if we try 1, we test 1, is gonna be 5 minus 1 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Then 1 plus 1 is 2. So tested 2 is the correct, 1 is the correct value of x, is a valid value of x. And then here we're still solving for x. So remember, here we have a fraction. Here we have a fraction. We have x is equals to 5 over 3x minus 2. So the first thing we need to do here, we have to eliminate, we have to remove the fraction. So in order to remove the fraction is to multiply each term by the fraction. In other words, we are multiplying each term by the lowest common denominator. So let me write in simple terms. Here we have x over 1. Any number in maths is over 1 is equal to the fraction of 5 over 3x minus 2. So what is our common lowest denominator? Our LCD here, lowest common denominator or lowest common multiple. Lowest common denominator is equal to, in this case, our lowest common denominator 3x minus 2. So our lowest common denominator is 3x minus 2. In other words, we are going to multiply each term by the lowest common denominator. We are multiplying each term by the lowest common denominator. So we will say here we write x over 1 x over 1 multiplied by the lowest common denominator, in this case is 3x plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 5 over 3x minus 2 times by the lowest common denominator, in this case 3x minus 2. So here we'll be left with, remember, when you multiply this by this, they will cancel each other and we'll be left with 5 on the right hand side. We'll be left with 5 on the right hand side. Then on the left hand side, we'll be left with, on the left hand side, we'll be left with x into 3x minus 2 is equals to, on the right hand side, we're left with 5. Now let's simplify. So x times 3x will have 3x squared. We have 3x squared. Then x multiplied by negative 2, we have minus 2x is equal to positive 5. So now remember, this is a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation should, when you're solving it, should always be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. It's a law. Should always be in that form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Should be the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. It should always be in this form. So now let's write 3x squared minus 2x is equals to 5 in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Then it will become 3x squared minus 2x. Then remember, when you're transposing, this is a positive 5. When we transpose it to the left hand side, when you take it to the left hand side, it becomes negative 5. Remember, when we take 5 here from the right hand side to the left hand side, so we'll be left with nothing on the right hand side, so we represented that by 0. We'll be left with 0 on the right hand side. So now this is a quadratic equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So then we need to factorize. So factors of 3x squared is gonna be 3x into x. These are factors of 3x squared. They will give us 3x squared. Then is equals to 0. Then factors of 5 is 1 and 5. There are only two factors of 5 is 1 and 5. So if the last term is negative, we will have two different signs. Then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. So if the last term is negative, so which means that these factors of 5, they must minus each other to get the middle term. So here we have minus 5, then here we'll have plus 1. Please do ask questions. If you have, you can comment and ask questions right now. I will answer them live if there's anything you don't understand, so that I can explain further. So factors of 5 is 1 and 5. Then if the last term is negative, we have two different signs. Then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. The sign of the middle term here is negative. So here obviously we have a negative 5 because 5 is bigger than 1. Then here we have a positive because if the last term is negative, we have two different signs. Alright? So therefore, now you can just say, you can write therefore 3x plus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then let's write the solution. So what is the value of x? The value of x will be x is equal to negative 1 over 3. I hope you are following. Or x is equal to positive 5. Remember, when you are taking one term to the other side of the equal sign, it changes the sign. If it was a negative, it becomes positive. If it was positive, it becomes a negative. If you don't understand, you can comment so that I can explain further. So here again we have a square root sign, and then we have these terms. I hope you are still following. Feel free to comment on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Alright, here we have root of x minus 3 minus 4 is equal to 5. The question says solve for x. Okay, the first thing, when you have a root, you must remove a root by squaring. You remove a root by squaring. So here we have root of x minus 3 is equal to, remember we have this constant, a number without x is a constant of -4, and is equals to this whole, the left hand side is equals to 5. So we're going to say, we're going to transpose, we're going to take the -4 to the other side, so it's going to be 5, that was on the right hand side already, plus 4. When you're taking a term from one side to the other side, it changes the sign. It was a -4, now it has become a +4. So then we'll say, we'll write square root of x minus 3 is equal to 5 plus 4, that is 9. Then we're gonna square on both sides because we want to remove the square root sign. When you are removing a square root sign, you must remove it by squaring, by square. So we have to square. So here we have x minus 3. Let's put it inside brackets. All squared. X minus 3 all squared. Whatever you do on the left hand side, you must always do on the right hand side. Then we have 9 squared. 9 squared, right? So here we have so we are only when you are squaring a square root, you are only removing the square root, everything else does not change. So here we'll be left with x minus 3 is equal to 81, is equals to 81, right? Then remember, this is a linear equation, it's a linear equation, it's equals to 81. So remember, we're solving for x, so we're going to take all the constant to the right hand side, so that on the left hand side you'll be left with x alone. So we'll say x is equal to 81, that was already on the right hand side, plus 3. The reason we say plus 3 because the 3 on the left hand side was a negative, so when you transpose it to the right hand side, it becomes a positive. So we have, so the final answer will be x is equals to 84. 81 plus 3, that is 84. So the value of x is 84. Value of x is 84. I hope you are following. Now let's go for simultaneous equation. Simultaneous equation, which means that you are solving for x and y at the same time, simultaneously at the same time. All right, here we have this equation, x plus 4 is equal to 2y, and we have another equation, x squared minus xy plus 21 is equal to 0. All right, so which means we have two equations here. All right, so say x is equal to 2y minus 4, x is equal to y minus 4, then we say this one is equation 1, right? Is equation 1. Then Then x squared, we're going to write the second equation as it is. X squared minus xy plus 21 is equal to 0. That will be equation 2. So now the rule says substitute equation 1 into equation 2. So remember, this is equation 1. We're substituting equation 1 into equation 2. In simple terms, where there is x, we're going to put 2y minus 4. Where there is x, we're putting 2y minus 4. So we're saying substitute equation 1 into equation 2. So where there was x, we put 2y minus 4. So here we're going to have remember we have x squared there, so it's going to be 2y minus 4 all squared. 2y minus 4 all squared minus into 2y minus 4 into y, right, plus 21 is equals to 0. Where there is x, we put 2y minus 4. So let's simplify this. So I'm gonna simplify this by inspection. All right, so here I'll say, so listen carefully. 2y multiplied by 2y, that will be 4y squared. That will be 4y squared, right? Then 2y multiplied by negative 4, that is negative 8y times 2. Then here we have negative 16y, right? Then negative 4 times negative 4, that will be positive 16. So I solved this by inspection. I simplified by inspection. Then minus, okay, remember this y is multiplying, so we can put this y in front. So it does not change anything. We can put this y in front, it does not change anything. All right, then we say negative y times 2y, that will be negative 2y squared. Negative 2y squared negative 2y squared, negative 2y squared. Then negative y multiplied by negative 4, positive 4y, positive 4y, then plus 21 is equals to 0. Now let's simplify. Okay, so let's add the like terms. So we're going to add the like terms. Here we have 4y squared minus 2y squared, that will be 2y squared. That will be 2y squared, 2y squared, right? Now let's go to the y. So going to the y now, remember here we have negative 16y and also here we have positive 4y. So negative 16y plus 4y, that will be negative 12y. Negative 12y. Right. Then we have 16 plus 21, that will be 37. 16 plus 21, that will be 37, right? So this one we have to use the quadratic equation is equal to 0 because we cannot factorize this one if you use the quadratic equation. All right. Okay, I think I made a mistake here because we must get the factors. So okay, let me check. Is 2y minus 4. All right, here we said x is 2y minus 4. Okay, then you substitute where this x, put y, then here is gonna be 4y squared, this and this, minus 8y times 2 minus 16y, then this positive 16, then here we have minus 2y squared, then here minus 4y. Yes, okay, here it's a plus 4y, here is a plus 4y, right? Then we have 21. So this and this will be gonna be 2y squared, then negative 16y and plus 4y, gonna be 12y, then 16 plus 21, that will be 37, right? That will be 37 equals to 0. So here, yeah, we have to use the quadratic equation. We have to use the quadratic equation. All right, so here we have to put in the form of, is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Therefore a is equals to 2, b is equal to negative 12, and c is equal to 37. Then we substitute here in the quadratic equation. So b is negative 12, b is negative 12 plus minus negative 12 squared minus 4ac, the value of a, the value of a is 2, into the value of c, 37, right, all over 2 into a. In this case the value of a is 2. So here we have two possible values of x. So let me just copy this one. So here we'll have a negative times negative, gonna be positive 12, plus minus square root of 12 squared is 144, minus 4 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 37, so that will be negative 296. So minus 296. So here there are no real solution because of the negative under square root. The denominator will be 4. So here we won't have a real solution because of the denominator. Remember, we have 144 minus 96 minus 296, that will be negative 152. So here there's no real solution, negative 152. So here we'll just end here. There's no real solution because we cannot get a square root of a negative number. Alright, I think something should be wrong with this equation. Okay, let's solve another simultaneous equation. Alright, so here it says number 8, solve for x and y simultaneously. That is, you solve for x and y at the same time. Here, remember, simultaneous equation on the exam, it has 6 marks because it's long. Here they made things easier for us. They said x is equal to 2y plus 1, so we'll make this as equation 1. So we'll say, alright, x is equal to 2y plus 1, then this one will be equation 1. This one will be equation 1. Then this one we put it as equation 2. So x squared minus 2y, x squared minus 2y plus 3x y is equals to 6. Then this one will be equation 2. This one will be equation 2. Right? So the rule says substitute equation 1 into equation 2. So then it will be x squared. So remember, where there's x, we put 2y plus 1. So here we have 2y plus 1 all squared. 2y plus 1 all squared minus 2y plus 3y right, into 2y plus 1, 2y plus 1, I hope you're following, is equals to 6, right? So let's simplify. Here I will do this one by inspection. I will say 2y times 2y is 4y squared. 4y is 4y is 4y squared, right? Then plus 2y multiplied by 1 is 2y times 2, so it's plus 4y plus 4y plus 4y. Then 1 times 1 is 1. Then minus 2y, then plus 3y multiplied by 2y is 6y squared. Is 6y squared, 6y squared, 6y squared, right? Then 3y multiplied by 1, it's plus 3y, then is equal to 6. Now let's simplify. Let's take 6 from the right hand side to the left hand side, so that it will be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, when we're dealing with the quadratic equation, it should always be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, now let's calculate like terms. Here we have 4y squared plus 6y squared, that will be 10y squared. That will be 10y squared. That will be 10y squared. Then 4y minus 2y, that will be 2y. Then 2y plus 3y, that is 5y, plus 5y. Then now let's calculate the constant. So it's gonna be 1, right, minus 6, because the sign will change when 6 comes to the left hand side. So 1 minus 6, that will be minus 5, is equals to 0. Now let's factorize. Let's factorize here. We have factors of 10y squared. Factors of 10y squared is gonna be 2 and 2 and 5, or 1 and 10. So remember, if the last term is negative, which means we'll have two different signs, the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. And also if the last term is negative, which means we should minus the factors of 5 of the last term, that will give us the middle term. So factors of 10y squared is going to be 10y into y, right, is equals to 0. Then factors of 5 is going to be 1 and 5. So here we'll have, okay, let's make things simpler. Remember, this is 10y squared plus 5y minus 5. If you have noticed that 5 goes into 10 two times, 5 to 5 goes one time, 5 to negative 5 goes to negative 1. So which means we're going to divide each term by 5. So when we're dividing each term by 5, we'll be left with 2y squared, right, plus y minus 1 is equals to 0, right? We're trying to simplify the equation. Then now factors of 2y squared, is gonna be 2y into y. They will give us y squared. Alright, they will give us 2y squared. Then factors of 1 is gonna be 1 and 1. So if the last term is negative, we have two different signs. So here we'll have a positive 1, then here we'll have a negative 1. Why? Excuse me, let's verify. 2y multiplied by 1 is going to be 2y. Therefore, negative 1 multiplied by y is going to be negative 1. Is going to be negative y. Therefore, 2y minus y is going to give us the middle term. So, solve for y. Therefore, we have two possible values of y. Therefore, y is equal to positive half. Y is equals to positive half, or y is equals to negative 1, right? So these are the two possible values of y. So now we are going to say substitute y values. Substitute y values in equation 1. Substitute y values in equation 1. So what was our equation 1? Remember, equation 1 was x is equals to 2y plus 1. So substitute y values in equation 1. So then this is equation 1. Let me start afresh. So substitute y in equation 1. So we're gonna say, remember, y value is half. X is equals to 2 into half, 2 into 1 over 2, into 1 over 2, or x is equals to 2 into negative 1 plus 1. Therefore x is equals to, so here 2 times 1 is going to be 2. 2 over 2 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So x is equals to 2, or x is equals to, here we're going to say 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2. Then negative 2 plus 1, x is equals to negative 1. So x is equals to -1. So these are the two possible values of x and y. So if we put it in, so we're going to say x is 2. If we put it in coordinate form, 2 is to half, 2 is to half, and 2 is to half, and -1, -1 is to -1, is to -1. So we are putting it in coordinate form because we substituted half to get the value of x, which is 2. So 2 is to half, and -1 is to -1. All right, last one. So these are 2 marks. They are quick and easy. We simply simplify without using a calculator. Simplify without using a calculator. So as you can notice, this is in exponential form, so which means, this is an exponential expression, so which means you have to change everything into the exponential form. So 81, if you convert 81 to exponential form, is going to be 3 to the power 4. So here we'll have, open brackets, 3 to the power 4, 3 to the power 4, right? Okay, let's open brackets, 3 to the power 4 into x multiplied by x multiplied by x to the power -4, to the power -4, right? Then into all to the power 3/4, the power 3/4. In other words, we're going to multiply each term by 3/4. All right, then here so we're going to say, open brackets, open brackets again, then it's gonna be 3 to the power 4/1. Any number in maths is over 1. 3 to the power 4/1. Right, into x to the power -4/1. -4/1, all into the power 3 over 4. To the power 3 over 4. Alright, 3 over 4. Perfect. So now let's multiply everything inside. We're going to multiply everything inside by this 3 over 4 outside. Right, you multiply everything inside by this 3 over 4. So this one is quite easy, that's why it's 2 marks. Then we'll be left with, so let me write it for you step by step so that you can understand. So it's gonna be open brackets, open brackets again, 3 to the power 4 over 1, right, multiply by 3 over 4, 3 multiplied by 3 over 4, right, times x, times x to the power 1 over negative 4 multiplied by 3 over 4. 3 over 4. 3 over 4. Alright, now let's simplify. Okay, let's simplify here. Let me close the brackets. Okay. So, alright. So here we're gonna say 4 times 3 is 12. Then 12 divided by 4, that is 3. So here we'll be left with 3 to the power 3. We'll be left with 3 to the power 3, right? Multiplied by x, multiplied by x to the power. So here we have negative 4 times 3, that will be negative 12. Negative 12 multiplied by, negative 12 divided by 4, that will be negative 3. Power negative 3, right? Then remember, in maths you cannot leave an answer to the negative exponent. It should be positive exponent. So here we would say 3 cubed, that will be 27. That will be 27. 27 times x to the power negative 3. X to the power negative 3 is the same as times 1 over x to the power times 1 over x to the power 3. Alright, so our final answer here would be 27 multiplied by 1, that will be 27 That will be 27 all over x to the power 3. All over x to the power 3. So this will be the final answer. Then last but not least, here you are simplifying this expression. It's 2 marks because it's not difficult. So here we have 4 into, alright, 3. Remember, applying foil here, you are applying foil. We're applying foil. Foil means first terms. F stands for first terms. Then O stands for outer terms. Then I stand for inner terms. And then L stand for last terms. Right? So we're applying foil here, so it's gonna be 4 into 3 multiplied by 3, that will be 9, right? Then 3 multiplied by root 5, that will be positive 3 root 5. Positive 3 root 5, right? Then negative. Now we're doing, remember, we started with the first terms. We said 3 multiplied by 3, these are first terms. It gave us 9. Then we said we're doing outer terms now. 3 multiplied by root 5 is 3, positive 3 root 5. Then now we're doing inner terms. Negative root 5 multiplied by 3 is gonna be negative 3 root 5. Negative 3 root 5, right? Then negative root 5 multiplied by positive root 5 is gonna be minus root, okay, it's gonna be minus, then root 5 multiplied by root 5. Remember, when I'm multiplying a square root by a square root, they will cancel each other. Then we'll be left with 5. We'll be left with 5 here. Then let's close the brackets. Then root 3 root 5 minus 3 root 5 is gonna be 0. Okay, let me copy this one. So here 3 root 5 minus 3 root 5 is gonna be 0, right? Then 9 minus 5. What is 9 minus 5? 9 minus 5 is 4, right? Then 4 multiplied by 4, the answer will be 16. So our answer here will be 16, right? Remember, you are free to ask questions if you don't understand or if you want me to clarify. Perfect. All right. So I will send the answers, but what I want you to do, I'm gonna give you homework that you can work with. Then I will send you the answers. If you don't understand, let me know so that I can explain further. So today we solved for x, and also we solve for x and y in simultaneous equation. Then we simplified and we dealt with inequalities as well. So what you must remember that when you're given a quadratic equation, it should always be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So it's a law, it should be always in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c, because if it's not in this form, you won't get the correct answer. Remember, you must always factorize when you're solving for x. Then if the examiner tells you that correct to 2 decimal places, don't even try to look for the factors because they are not prime numbers. So what you need to do, just use the quadratic formula, which will always be given in your formula sheet. So we are done for today. We'll continue again next week, probably this week, but I will let you know. We're gonna write a predefined timetable so that you can prepare as well. So the exercise that I'm gonna give you, make sure that you do them, because when you are listening to someone teaching you maths, you will think that you understand it. Then you'll be surprised when you are writing it, you find that you didn't understand. So that's when you go back and study again. So maths is all about mistakes. You have to make mistakes until you perfect them. So you must practice, practice, and practice. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can invite your friends to participate as well. Remember, our website is canines.com, where we have previous question papers, we have answers as well. And also remember to like our Facebook page, and also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have videos there, and even this one was on YouTube, and it will stay there on YouTube, so you can go back to it. Thank you so much for watching. We see you next time.